Okay, now I want to explain for people how I ended up in jail for a crime I didn't commit and how I ended up in a psychiatric ward, even though I had never been to a psychiatrist or a psychologist before. I had never been diagnosed with anything. I had never been committed into any mental institution. All this stuff started in the summer of 2015. And I had met a woman in the summer of 2012 that lives across the street from me. When I met her, she was 17 years old. Okay. In the summer of 2016, I was arrested for stalking a woman who did not live across the street but lived in a different city. And the police department was involved with the family. They were running a community watch group, and they switched the names around. So instead of me stalking the girl that lived across the street that I met in 2012, they're saying I was stalking a woman that was 29 years old that lived in a different city, and that was in the police report. In the police report, it was a woman named Amanda Cherry, who was 29 years old, and according to the Norton Shores Police Department, she lived in Roosevelt Park, and the Roosevelt Park police had nothing to do with any of this. And so, the girl that I sent the flowers to, she introduced herself to me in the summer of 2012. I believe she said her name was Jamie Pastuca. No, she didn't say her last name was Pastuca. She just said her name was Jamie. But then when all this stuff came into the court, I naturally found out what her last name would have been, Pastuca. And that's the funny thing is the Amanda Cherry woman's name is not the same last name as the people across the street, Pastuca. And the Amanda Cherry woman, I've never seen her outside the courtroom. The first time I ever seen her was at the trial. And the story goes is like I tried to pull her out of a car, and then sent her some flowers and started making YouTube videos about her. And the whole time that this is what actually happened, I was being followed around by unlicensed, unregistered, like basically a fake community watch group in the Lauren Drive neighborhood of Norton Shores, Michigan. I'm in the entertainment field. I'm a conspiracy researcher, and I'm an alternative researcher. And I hadn't been in jail in about 10, 11 years. Before that, I hadn't been convicted of any sort of crime in Muskegon County. I had never been on probation in Muskegon County. Like my record in Muskegon County was clean. I had some tickets and some nonsense like that from like many years back, even before like 10, 11 years back. But I had no criminal record in Muskegon County up until the time I was framed. And so I wasn't I've never been convicted of a sex crime. I'm not involved in anything like that. And I was in the neighborhood. I was living in the neighborhood. And I had been there before all the other people in the neighborhood. There was a Navy recruiter that lived on the corner on Lauren Drive that was deeply involved with this stuff. There was a police officer that lived next to him on the same side of the street that was deeply involved in this stuff. Then there was a corrections officer across the street from me who was a former United States, he was a corrections officer in the United States Marine. He was involved with this stuff, and there were some people named, the guy next door to me was involved with it, and the Quick family was involved, and there was a woman with blonde hair that lives with her daughter right after that. She was involved with it. The next house was involved with it. Everybody in the community played a role and played a part in this, and they all know who the woman that I went to court with. I don't know what the community awareness is of the woman I went to court with, but I went to court. The woman, Rob Pastuca, that was running the majority of the neighborhood watch group with the cop and and all the other people, she said in court that she had no knowledge of who I was before the police came to her house, and she said that she had never seen me on YouTube, and she said basically that she had never followed me. Her and her husband Joe Pastuca had never followed me, and all that is a lie. Like they were the main ones doing all of this stuff, and it makes me believe it leads me to believe that they're involved with a lot more than what's going on in that area. But anyhow, so all my neighbors are participating in this, but then these people come into court and say it's not happening, it's not real, and the whole community sat back and watched it. I have so much video footage of this stuff. It's unbelievable. I met other residents of Norton Shores who told me that they got flyers in their mailbox and they were asked to participate in these community watch groups, and they work similar to what was going on in my area. There's other residents in the Muskegon County area who claim that they've been getting followed around by people that they don't know who they are. And Ted Gunderson, the former head of the Los Angeles FBI, he was instrumental in doing a lot of lectures about child kidnapping and he ended up getting gang stalked himself. As a researcher, I did interviews with notable people like Laura Eisenhower, the great granddaughter of Dwight D. Eisenhower, former president, Jordan Maxwell, who else? Channelers, people who are psychics like Rob Gauthier, Brad Johnson, Daryl Anka, Wendy Kennedy, entertainers such as BG Knockout, who's a rapper, G-Bone, who's also a rapper. They're both from the Compton area. BG Knockout rapped with Eazy-E, who did the real Compton City G's. You know, some of these people are famous, notable people. And the community stalking that was going on in the neighborhood. Let me get back to what I was saying. So with Ted Gunderson also did lectures with Jordan Maxwell. So the circle that I'm in was always more entertainment. I did interviews with all kinds of target individuals. It's based on the truth and based on finding out about knowledge, but a lot of it's entertainment. So I rub hands with, people who are sometimes famous, people who are not maybe famous but well known. I rub hands with people who just research. And so all this started primarily in the summer of 2015, and it kept going. And so when it first started, I didn't know what was going on. And it continued. And it wouldn't stop. And then it just continued, And that's how I got in this circumstance. I ended up sending a girl flowers and making some YouTube videos about what was going on in the area and telling her I cared about her and all this stuff. And everywhere I went, the girl was following me. And, it just never, I'm just trying to, right now I'm thinking about everything that's been going on. It's just so much stuff that's happened. So many people have participated in this stuff. It would take me about an hour to really sit down and write it all on a piece of paper and explain everything. But these people in this neighborhood just kept following me. And, the federal government is definitely involved in this stuff because there's been postal trucks who've used the gaslighting techniques with cutting the brights on the postal trucks. And anything that's postal is federal. So I can't just say it's just a neighborhood watch group, but these people take advantage of that. These are programs that are being ran through the local government, state government, and federal government. And so these people took advantage of that. Anyhow, so I ended up going on a 37-mile walk, and these people that lived next to me, a man that lived next to me at 4662 Lauren Drive, he followed me on and off along with the Pastuca family, 37 miles. Joshua Pastuca, the youngest daughter living. Joshua Pastuca was a son, the oldest son living at the house. There was 3 daughters living there. Kayla or Michaela, she had natural blonde hair. Then the Samantha Pastuca woman, then the girl I sent the flowers to, which would have been Jamie Pastuca or whatever. But she looks just like the Samantha Pastuca girl. And then after I got arrested, the girl I sent the flowers to, Jamie Pastuca girl, she dyed her hair dark, black, right? And so these people were like a well thought out network, criminal network that were doing this. And basically I ended up getting angry. I got an argument with some people, and I got angry. I just took off walking. I ended up trying to walk to the next town. I ended up walking 37 miles. These people followed me on and off 37 miles, and I was involuntarily committed into a psychiatric ward. I had no record of being, I had no psychological disorder or anything like that previous to that. I'd never been diagnosed with anything. And the whole thing about this is, I was being harassed and stalked. I got angry, left town, which to me was a normal reaction. Now, I went for my trial in the 60 District Court over this misdemeanor stalking charge, which I was framed on, and I didn't have a normal court proceeding. I didn't have the same kind of trial at which somebody should have. Everything was set up around Freemasonry and communism type activity. When I say communism, meaning communal, everybody participated and played a role, wearing the same color, doing certain things. And that lets me know the Muskegon County Sheriff was involved. And if you look at my Live ad, which is a direct result of me being falsely prosecuted, illegally prosecuted and framed, in the Live ad, the prosecutor is Timothy Matt. In the courtroom, it was Benjamin Miedema. Timothy Matt is a circuit court prosecutor. Benjamin Miedema is a 60 district prosecutor. So I was prosecuted in the misdemeanor court, but the newspaper is sort of a circuit court prosecutor. Why won't they put the right prosecutor in there? Then in the newspaper and M Live, they said it was a younger female daughter that I sent the flowers to. That's the girl that they're talking about, but she wasn't a younger female. She was 21 years old when I sent her the flowers. Younger female sounds like the girl's like 7 years old or something. And that's one of the things I don't like about what Judge Raymond J. Estrada did, is not only did they set me up and frame me for a crime I didn't commit, but they did everything they could to degrade my character and try to diminish my name, which shows how really sick the criminal prosecution system is in Muskegon County. To sit there for a whole district to sit there and watch somebody be prosecuted for a crime they didn't commit and allow these people to sit there and slander their name in the newspaper, and then they put some guy who goes by the Obsoletus. And the funny thing is this character named the Obsoletus, he emailed me originally for an interview in the summer of 2015. Mid 2015, he emailed me to do an interview, and I didn't want to do it. And then he started talking trash about me on the internet. And then when I started talking about how I was being harassed and stalked through the neighborhood watch group, then he jumped on the bandwagon and started speaking out bad against me. And that let me know that somewhere along the line, the people who were contract stalking me got involved with him. And I can tell by the way he presents himself on YouTube, the subliminals he uses. And and he was making so many derogatory videos about me before I was illegally criminally prosecuted at my trial. And then the people at M Live, they just put him in the newspaper with all the derogatory stuff he already had up about me. And so that shows you the mindset right there. And then, so if somebody actually did have a psychiatric, this is how dangerous Judge Raymond J. Estrada is in his courtroom, and this is how dangerous the criminal justice system in Muskegon County is, and how the media in Muskegon County is. If there was actually somebody out there who did have a psychiatric condition, or they had some sort of disorder, what would actually happen if they did that to the person and put some guy they didn't even know in the newspaper talking about them and just harassed them and created all these problems for them and prosecuted them illegally? If the person had a disorder, how would that affect them? That can make somebody have a nervous breakdown and harm themselves, kill themselves, or kill somebody else. And that's why I think the community health workers in Muskegon County are involved in a much larger criminal conspiracy with the court system. And it makes me wonder about what the patients in community mental health are actually going through when they go down to community mental health. Are the people that work there for their best interest? Is the Muskegon County Commissioner's Office looking into this? You know, I feel like this is not just a political situation, but what happened in that courtroom threatens the actual stability of the criminal prosecution system in Michigan. You know, and they didn't just break. These people just didn't break state law; they broke federal law. There's federal stalking laws, and anytime you violate somebody's civil rights, that's federal. They broke the Constitution of the state of Michigan, then they broke the Constitution of the state of the United States of America in that courtroom, and that's messed up. And so the whole time I was on probation, the judge sat there, and I felt like he was trying to impress Robin Pastuca. From what I've seen, Robin Pastuca is a Freemason, Detective Kyle Neer is a Freemason, Judge Kostrava is a Freemason, and I feel like they were trying to impress Robin Pastuca in that courtroom. And I don't know why these people would feel that they had some authority over my life. I don't know why this woman across the street would feel that she had authority to tell people to do anything to me or follow me. I don't know these people. I'm not a Freemason. You know, these people don't have any authority to do anything to me or have anybody tell anybody to do anything to me. They don't have any authority to spread any disinformation about me or lie on me. You know, I'm a normal person. I pay taxes. You know what I mean? I'm a researcher. Like, these people don't have any authority to do anything to me. You know, if I didn't belong in that courtroom, I didn't belong in any police report with these people. These people sat there and harassed me and followed me around and harangued me and set me up in some sort of situation. And then while I was getting off probation, Judge Raymond J. Estrada was calling down to the community mental health workers, and they didn't even want to be bothered with them. and they wouldn't return his phone calls. He kept calling them, telling my probation officer to call them. And, people were sending me threats talking about I was going to be put to sleep in the emergency room at the hospital and all this stuff. And, that makes me think, is Judge Kostrava a part of some sort of criminal conspiracy to commit murder against me? What are these community health workers involved with? And, my family is starting to look at this stuff. We're really thinking about this stuff. And the Washington FBI needs to get involved with the 60th District Court and find out exactly what is Judge Raymond J. Kostrava doing in that courtroom. And I have concerns about the Jeffrey Willis case. I was looking at Judge Raymond J. Kostrava, how he did his arraignment with Jeffrey Willis, and the same way this looks on his face at Jeffrey Willis's arraignment, that was the same looks on his face at my trial, and I know what he's capable of. I know he's capable of prosecuting somebody for a crime they didn't commit. If he could do that to me and not even know me, and do that so vindictively, nothing would lead me to believe he couldn't do that to somebody like Jeffrey Willis, or he couldn't do that to anybody else. It makes me think of what kind of people are going through the court system, what's going on, and I want people to really think about that and look at that. Like, there's something seriously wrong with Muskegon County, because it doesn't matter if you're a Freemason or you're a corrupt police officer or a corrupt government official. Everybody should abide by the same laws. That's the agreement of society. When we come together in a society, in any area of civilization, when we come together in a society and agree to participate as citizens in a community, we all agree to abide by the same laws. In this country, it goes by the state you live in. You have the state of Michigan law in Michigan. You have the Michigan Constitution. And in whatever city you live in, you may have different ordinances. And then you have the Constitution of the United States of America, and you have civil rights. That's the supreme law of the land. And on Lauren Drive, Robin Pastuca is not the supreme law of the land. Judge Kostrava is not the supreme law of the land. The Norton Shores Police Department is not the supreme law of the land. The supreme law of the land is the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of Michigan. And they're treating citizens like they're enemy combatants. And it makes me wonder, does foreign intelligence should look into this stuff? Because is this like the KGB infiltrating? Is the Russian KGB infiltrating the county of Muskegon or something? This is almost like something off of Red Dawn. And I think the people out there in the Federal Bureau of Investigation, they need to remember that there's an agreement that there's no negotiation with terrorists. The government is not supposed to negotiate with terrorists, and the way these people are acting, they're acting as terrorists. They're sending people messages that they're going to hurt people. They're threatening people. They're driving around with lights on cars in broad daylight. They're telling people who don't even know the person to watch the person. Nobody has the authority to do that to anybody. And it doesn't matter how compartmentalized and splintered and fractioned off it is. It's still a criminal network, and it still should be held accountable. If this was in a foreign country, people would be talking bad about it. But it's happening here, so everybody's afraid to say something. Fuck that. There's something seriously wrong with that. So I definitely think that the American Civil Liberties Unit and the NAACP and Affirmative Action, Nation of Islam, and all the other civil rights groups out there should definitely get involved and do something and look into what's going on in Muskegon County in the 60th District Court.